Welcome back, everybody. Today we're here to talk about The Walking Dead World Beyond Episode 2, titled The Blaze of Glory. This is going to be my review and recap of the episode. I thought it was a pretty good episode. I mean, it was a good episode in terms of character, but I did have some problems with it plot-wise, and I'm going to touch on everything throughout the review, obviously. But before I do that, I want to give a general spoiler warning. In case you aren't caught up with the episode or you aren't caught up with the show, definitely go ahead and check it out and then come back to the review. Also, if you are a fan of The Walking Dead, be sure to subscribe, because tonight Fear the Walking Dead also aired season 6 premiere, and I have the review of that on the channel as well. And then moving forward, we're gonna be having reviews of both of these shows, trailer breakdowns, all that kind of stuff, and they're both gonna be aired on Sunday night, so that's pretty exciting. So again, if you are a fan of the show, be sure to subscribe. But with all that being said, let's get into this review. So I thought it was a good episode. I mean, actually, it was a pretty good episode in terms of character and stuff like that. We learned a lot about the characters, but I was a bit disappointed by the plot in what we were seeing. I felt like we didn't see that much, like if you actually look at this episode on paper, they really didn't do much in terms of moving the plot forward. And I'm also kind of confused as to what these kids, what they want to do. I know they want to go see what's going on with their father, and I know they're kids, so they might not like have it completely planned out, but Elizabeth, the leader of the CRM, or we don't know if she's the leader of the CRM, but the leader of the lieutenant of that community, at least that they were in, she told them that he was in New York. So I'm confused as to, like, is their plan just to walk to New York, or are they gonna be doing other stuff? Well, I mean, there is a second season, so I'm interested to see like what's gonna stop them, because I mean, I guess there is really nothing else they have to do. It's a zombie apocalypse, so for them to want to walk to New York is definitely possible, but it's just gonna take a hell of a long time. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure they're gonna run into some CRM issues, but in terms of the plot, it didn't move that ahead, but I really did like the character stuff that we saw in this episode, and I want to talk about that. So I want to start off by talking about Felix, because I do think that was the big thing in this episode, learning a lot about him. We knew that we were going to learn more about him this episode based on the synopsis, but I didn't think we were going to learn this much about him. And I thought that in the two quick flashback scenes we had, I thought we learned a lot about him. And that first flashback scene was very sad, really sad and really dark. And I mean, something that I thought, I mean, even watching these flashback scenes were even making me angry, especially that second flashback scene, because that was just so messed up on his parents' part. Like, he wanted to come back inside, and things were, that's when the zombie apocalypse was starting out, and he wanted to go back home with his family, and they just shut the lights off. I was like, oh my goodness. So that made me really upset, and it was very sad. But that first flashback scene, something that did interest me was that was probably like the earliest we've ever seen the show, right? I might be wrong about that, but that was pretty early, I thought. So just something I kind of noted on the side, because I do think it's interesting when the show flashes back to, very early moments in the show. Or not very early moments in the show, like very early moments in the universe. We rarely see that, so I think that was one of the earliest, if not the earliest, probably. So yeah, with Felix, really good stuff in this episode. We learned a lot about him. And then going over to the kids and stuff like that. So again, they are continuing their journey this episode. They left that campus. We saw what happened at the campus last episode, and nobody knows about that yet. So it's going to be really interesting, especially I think it's going to be really interesting for Huck and Felix, because the only reason they left was to go get the kids, right? And they're working for Elizabeth. So I'm not really sure if Elizabeth was going to plan on killing them too, because, I mean, they did pretty much kill everybody there, which was insane. But it's going to be really interesting to see if they find out. Like, I don't know if they're going to meet up with the kids and take them back and they're all going to find out, or are they just going to run into Elizabeth? Because I am sure Elizabeth is going to go after them, because they're not there. And I guess I don't know if her plan was to take out everybody or what. Like, I don't really know her plan, because that was sort of abrupt. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, we do learn more about that soon. But I like the scene when Iris was fighting that walker. I wrote that down because I kind of found that pretty realistic in terms of the universe. Because remember, people in this world don't really know what the zombies are. Like, they don't have the pop culture stuff that we have. You know, like Night of the Living Dead and all that kind of stuff. They don't know what these things are. They're like monsters to them. You know, they don't even know what this is. And they call them empty, so that's pretty interesting. And I think, like, in a way it's funny. I think it's supposed to be I think it's supposed to be intentional. Like the way they were fighting the walkers, and a moment I wrote down because it actually made me laugh was like they were struggling to fight these walkers, and then they were thinking like, how are they going to approach? Because remember, all those walkers around the school buses, they had to get to the other side. And then Iris says like, I think we can do this, guys. That scene made me laugh because Hope was like the voice of reason there. She was like, guys, we couldn't even take out 2 of them. You guys want to go deal with all these walkers? So that was kind of funny. So there definitely are some funny moments in this show with the characters, and I do like that. I also like that scene when they were just hanging out outside, like Hal and Iris were talking about music, and Hope was like bowling with random stuff. Like, I thought it was a good scene because it just sort of made them, you know, act like kids, and it kind of reminded me when I was younger and you just do random stuff outside with your friends, right, to keep yourself busy. Obviously we weren't in a zombie apocalypse, but the point is, like, that scene was, I thought, a pretty good scene. Something else that I found really interesting is that you can really see the parallels between like the characters in this show and then the characters on like The Walking Dead, and the difference between like being out in a zombie apocalypse, like literally living in it, opposed to living behind some walls. Because some of the stuff that the characters are doing were a little bit odd to me. Like, for example, well, not odd, but like the point is like you can see the comparisons. Like, on The Walking Dead, whenever someone sleeps, the other person guards, right? I don't think anyone did that in this episode. Like, I thought that's what they were doing between Huck and Felix, but I guess not, because Huck just slept the entire night, and then Felix, you know, he stood up because he did what he went to go do that we saw, but they didn't like switch or anything like that. And same thing with the kids. But again, you could argue that they were probably safe, but I've never seen that happen on The Walking Dead. Like, they always have someone on guard, and that's not like a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing on The World Beyond. I just think it's interesting, and it fits the characters, I guess, because again, even though they are smart, like the older people are smart, you know, they fought zombies and stuff like that, they teach classes, but they still haven't been out, you know, dealing with zombies as long as like people like Rick and Glenn and Abraham and Maggie and Daryl and them. Remember that group, in season 5 group, before they went to Alexandria? Like, that main group, you know, they know how to deal with walkers. So that is really interesting to compare. But yeah, going back to Felix, I thought they did. I mean, we saw what happened at the end there with his parents and how he left and then went to go take care of them. Again, great stuff with Felix. We learn a lot about him, and hopefully they do the same for a lot of the characters. Like, hopefully we learn more about Huck. That's one character I'm interested in. We haven't learned too much about her. You know, she talks to Felix a lot. They have banter, but we haven't just learned that much about her. But overall, like I said, I like the characters. For me, I just hope that there's some more plot-wise, you know. Hopefully the CRM comes back into this. Rather than just, you know, I don't mind them walking and, you know, exploring and stuff like that. I think it's actually quite interesting since they're pretty new to the zombie apocalypse, but I just hope there's more than just that, right? But yeah, I'm gonna leave it off there for you guys. Overall, I do like the episode and I do like the series. Very excited to see where it goes from here. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Again, Fear the Walking Dead season 6, the premiere was tonight. I also have the review of that on my channel, and then we also have obviously the trailers for episode 2 of Fear the Walking Dead and then episode 3 of The World Beyond. So we have a lot of Walking Dead content coming up. Pretty excited. Also, New York Comic Con was this past weekend, so I'm working on some videos that we learned about stuff from there, Walking Dead related. So a lot of Walking Dead content coming up soon. If you are a fan of the show, be sure to subscribe. Again, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below about the episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And what did you or didn't you like about the episode? So again, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like, rating, and as always, thanks for watching, everybody. Please stay safe, and I'll see you guys soon.